And we're back for another Gab with Abigail. If you are back and this is your first time on my channel, hi, welcome to Gabs with Abigail, where we talk about the Bates and Duggars and other D-list fundies. On this channel, we do deep dives, commentary, and light fodder that nobody really asked for, including this video. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'd love to have you subscribe and join our chats that we have here. As you can see, today is a little bit of a lighter fodder on the channel, and I just felt like having some fun, so let's hang out. Today, I am ranking all of the Duggar and Bates grandkids names. So all of the 19 children's children. And I'm going to go in order of birth as best I can. It's going to be off slightly. The list is a little bit crazy, but yeah. So let's get into the categories. The categories that we're going to be ranking the names in are Taylor, McCarter, Navy, Lakin meme. If you know, you know. It's very much, so the names that go in this category are like, it screams Midwest, Southern, American, unique, created, ghetto ass name. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Next category is tell me your mom grew up in a fundamentalist cult without telling me that your mom grew up in a fundamentalist cult. The third tier is it's giving mama's IG. You know what I'm talking about? Mamas. That's how I read it whenever I see the word mamas or mama on IG is mamas. I don't want to say I can't stand the word mamas, but I low-key can't stand the word mama because of Instagram. And like, don't get me wrong, like I think it's so wonderful that there is a group of, like, there is a space for moms, for mothers to go and to like vent and be supported and get advice and be encouraged. But oh my God, there is something about the word mamas that just gets under my skin. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like the word mamas on Instagram makes me not want to have children because I'm like, I don't want to be one of those mothers. I don't want to be a mamas. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, do you know what I mean? So this category is like, it's giving mamas, momfluencer, basically. It's a name that's trendy. It's on the top 20 names of the year list. Okay, fourth tier is, honestly, I'd put this name on my baby list. Fifth tier is I can hear the banjos in the background, which is, this name is very much so giving barefoot in the countryside of Arkansas and East Tennessee, like it jumped out. Fifth tier is where was your dad on January 6th? If I have to explain that? It's giving young Republican. It's giving all of the worst things about Christian nationalism. Like, it's giving that vibe. Like, I heard your name and I was like, oh, your dad voted Trump, didn't he? You know what I mean? Like, no shade to anybody who votes Republican. But that's what it's giving. Okay, and the last tier is your mom had this on her high school 16-year-old baby list. Let's get into the video. Okay, so the first name on this list, of course, baby number 1, the firstborn grandchild out of the Duggars and Bates, and that is Mackenzie Duggar, who is Josh and Anna's daughter. Mackenzie. This is going to go in the Taylor, McCarty, Lakin tier, and I feel like that's obvious because it's Mackenzie, not Mackenzie, and they call her Mackenzie. It's not that they're just spelling it different and then saying Mackenzie, which would still put it in this category. They call her Kinsey. I feel like it's self-explanatory why it goes in this list. That unique American thing of having to change a name just a little bit slightly to make it unique. Next on this list is Michael. Okay, I really struggled where to put Michael because it's kind of a name that's like, well, it's kind of regular. But ultimately, where I put this name is, it's so tell me your mom grew up in a fundamentalist cult without telling me your mom grew up in a fundamentalist cult. And why that is because one, Michael is a biblical name, and then two, And his dad's name is Michael. So, you know, that whole paternalistic, honoring your father, honoring your parents, blah, blah, blah. It's giving a little bit of a culty vibe. Marcus. Okay. Now I laugh every single time that I think about Marcus's name, and I don't want like this. What I'm about to say is probably gonna sound weird, but when I think of the name Marcus, I think of a black person. Like Marcus is a black ass name to me. I'm sorry. So every time that I think about his name being Marcus is so funny to me. Like that's a black ass name. Like I'm sorry, and it's interesting to me because it's like I mean, I want you to think about it right now. Have you ever met a white Marcus in your life? And if you have, I want you to leave me a comment because I have never met a white Marcus until this little Duggar baby. Where I would put the name Marcus though, where this is gonna tear, is where was your dad on January the 6th? And the reason why is for the reason I just said is that and that sounds crazy, but like it's just like it strikes me as a very black ass name. So I just feel probably the like stepson of a white guy or something like that. Like I don't know, it gives like where was your dad on January 6th, because it's like it's a black ass name. Like why are you naming your kid Marcus? It's a nice name. I know Marcus. Story for another day. Bradley. So I also had a hard time with Bradley and where to put Bradley, and ultimately Bradley also got put on the where was your father on January 6th? And the reason why, I don't know, there's just something about a Brad that kind of sounds like he would show up for that kind of thing. Like, you know, and not even like you maybe like climbed over into the state house, into the building or anything. But like you were out there holding a sign, like you were a young Republican who felt really strongly about Trump, and you came there like because you were probably working at the state house or something, and you just happened to see like all your buddies, so you went there too. Like you probably weren't like crossing the line into like, you know, the buses wrote, actually no, they probably did say like, you know, the Antifa buses were bussed in or whatever, the Antifa people. That's what Bradley is just kind of giving to me. Allie Jane. This is going to go in. I can hear the banjos in the background. Allie Jane is a country ass name. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Like you hear it. I don't gotta say too much. Next is Carson. I put Carson on, this was on my 16, this was on your mother's 16-year-old baby name list. Because that to me is just what it's giving. Like, it sounds like a name that Aaron would have heard and been like, oh, I love that name. That's the perfect name for a little boy. And then Carson it was. Next is Jill's second son. Oh, I'm lying. Jill's first son, and that is Israel. Very obviously, this name is going in, tell me your tell me your mother grew up in a fundamentalist cult without telling me that your mother grew up in a fundamentalist cult, because naming your child Israel, and then to me what really like the fundamentalist cult aspect of it is taking the pictures holding the baby in the Israel Defense Fund. All I'm gonna say is free Palestine. Moving on. Meredith. Okay, so I put Meredith, where I would tier Meredith is in the Mama's IG, because it's like a more old-fashioned name and really not a name that you hear a lot. And it sounds like to me something that like an influencer would name their kid to be like different. Like it's something that people now would, because I feel like it's kind of like on trend to give your kid kind of an older name because they're out of style, out of fashion to some extent, that it's like unique, it's like trendy, and it's like, oh, it's a classic name, you know what I mean? It's giving classic Abby almost, if you will. But I feel like it gives like a little bit of like a trendy edge, so I'm going to say Meredith. It's a big name for a little girl. Next, Spurgeon. I don't even got to say it. It's tell me your mom grew up in a fundamentalist cult without telling me that your mom grew up in a fundamentalist cult. Because Spurgeon is like this religious preacher or whatever, or prophet or whatever the hell you want to call him, from like I think the 1800s, and that is who this little boy is named after, Spurgeon. It's unique. It's different, I guess. It's a name that, I think it was crazy about it. It's like, what if you like your son grows up and doesn't even like Spurgeon's teachings and he has to walk around with that name forever? How insane is that? Like Spurgeon. Like I feel like people on the internet hate that name. Honestly, don't hate the name Spurgeon. I don't hate it. I feel like I have heard worse things. I feel like personally that, okay, maybe I haven't said a name yet that's worse than that, but I don't hate Spurgeon the way I feel like the snark community, everybody is like, what the is that? Now I understand that, okay, that is also probably my reaction too. Like, why would you name a child that? Like, for the reason I just said, like, I get it, I guess, like, religious fervor, but that is exactly why, tell me your mother grew up in a fundamentalist cult without telling me. It's giving, okay? All right, Casey Lynn. I can hear the banjos in the background. Casey Lynn, it is a country ass name. Like, girl, baby girl, I can hear you walking barefoot outside in East Tennessee. Like, that's what it's giving. Casey Lynn. I think it's cute though. Like, no shade at all. No shade at all. I think Casey Lynn is such a cute name. Rolls off the tongue, and especially like I love Whitney's accent. So I just think it's really cute. Like I think it works. Like it sounds really country, especially with her accent. It's cute. Brooklyn. There are 2 Brooklyns on this list, so I want to be clear that this is Brooklyn Elise. This is Aaron's daughter, and I'm going to put this Brooklyn, which yes, there is a distinction, okay? I feel like the other Brooklyn is different. I'm going to put this Brooklyn in your mom had this on her 16-year-old baby name list. I think it's so ironic that, like, I know lots of people name their kids after places that they haven't been. Like Paris is trendy, London is trendy, Milan is trendy. You might have never owned a Dior item in your life and people name their kid Dior, Chanel. I get it. But I just feel like from the perspective of like growing up in a super conservative cult that like you've never been to Brooklyn and you named your kid Brooklyn. I don't know. I guess they call her Brookie and everything like that. Like, I get it. Brooklyn is a common name now. But that's precisely why it's like this was on your high school baby name list. You never stopped loving it. You never stopped living the dream. And here we are. Okay, Zoe Joy. For Zoe Joy sounds like a mama's IG name. Like that, it's, the name Zoe and then Joy. Like, I feel like it sounds trendy. So yeah, I put it in the mama's IG category. Garrett. I really struggled with where to put Garrett, and here's why. Well, actually, I won't even say here's why. I knew a kid in high school. The only person I've ever known with the name Garrett is a boy I went to, I think, elementary school too. So yeah, I went to elementary, middle, and high school together, which was like the case for a lot of my people I went with to elementary school with, that we went to middle school and high school together. But Garrett Merhej, and I will never forget him, one, because of his name, right? Like, I still, to this day, like, I probably have not seen him in like 15 years now at this point. Probably a little bit less than that, but like getting close to 15 years. And I'll never forget his first and last name, because he was also the first Lebanese person I ever met. I thought that was so cool. And like, he would like, tell us about that kind of thing. And like, I don't say I never knew what a Lebanese person looked like, but I probably never heard of Lebanon before I met him. Because again, like, I met him when I was really quite young. I want to say elementary school. Like, I met him in like 4th grade. Nobody judged me for not knowing about Lebanon in the 4th grade. And Lebanon has such a unique like country's flag with like the tree. Like, how dope is that? You know what I mean? So I just will never forget Garrett Merhej. And his family used to like go on family trips, like vacations, and like spend extended time in Lebanon. And like, he would come back and tell us about it. And like, we're just a unique kid. And, like, I'll just never forget what he was like. Yeah. But I would put this in the and I want to say completely unrelated to the Garrett that I knew, but I would put Garrett in the where was your dad on January 6th? I don't know. It kind of like, I don't know, there's just something about Garrett that sounds like your dad is like very Trump supportery in the extreme. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Next, Everly. Everly is in the Taylor McCarty Navy meme tier. And I just think like, I don't know. There's just something, very unique about it. You're like very like American unique. Like that's what this category is. It's American unique. You know what I mean? It's everybody's so creative basically. And I know that's like, oh, it's just the name Everly. Like I'm not saying it's an ugly name. I think it's cute. It's just definitely not a name that you would have heard 10 years ago or 20 years ago. This probably could have gone in the mama's IG, but I just feel like being Aaron's child, it's got to be in the Taily, Navy, whatever category. Felicity. Felicity is going to go in the mama's category for a similar reason as Meredith, which is just like the older fashioned name. It's not a name that you technically hear too often anymore. It's really classic. It's super, American Girl doll. Like it's super American name. I think Felicity is a cute name. I have to put in the comment making fun of how Ginger says Felicity. Felicity. She really has the weirdest accent, Ginger. Like she really does. Like no shade, Ginger. No shade, Ginger. I know I went hard in the last video with the critique, but that really is like such a comment that like you see on like the snark community or like just comments in general. That like she says it Felicity, just Felicity, Felicity, Lissy. But yes, I would put that in the mama's IG. Cade. I really like the name Cade. I know a lot of people didn't like it. It grew on me. I feel like I like Cade. I don't hate the name Cade. I think Cade is such a cute kid. He's adorable. Both of Tori's sons are so cute. Where do we put Cade? Cade is gonna go though in the. It's got to go in the Lakin Navy Taily category, whatever that is, because. While, like I said, I don't hate the name Cade at all. I know some people were bothered by it. I think it's kind of cute. I think it's, but it's very much so. I don't want to say you don't hear that too often. I feel like that really is kind of more of a Southern, Midwestern thing. Like, I'm not trying to say too much about y'all, but that's why Cade is going to go in that category. I do think it's a name that Aaron helped Tori pick out. That's all I'm going to say about that. And then Coulter. When they first announced Coulter's name, I was like, why? I don't know. When I think of Coulter, I think of like, like maybe like a Colt. I don't even know guns, so whatever that gun is. Or is that it's a gun, and isn't it a beer? Am I making that up? I only drink like 2 types of beer, so I could be making that up. It's like a Colt? Coulter? Oh my God. Coulter? Oh my God. God's trying to tell us something. He was trying to tell Tori something. He was like, listen, babe, second baby after 2 years, I'm giving you the name Coulter. Maybe it's time to get out of it. You know what I mean? Is that a bad joke? Where I would put Coulter, because it sounds like a hard, aggressive, like German name. It's giving where was your dad on January 6th? Like that sounds like that kind of name that we would need to ask that question as to where your father was. We know how these people voted, right? We know. It's giving where was your dad on January 6th? Coulter. Very unique. Coulter. Probably not going to meet too many Coulters in your lifetime. That's all I'm saying about that. Evangeline, definitely gonna have to go into the tell me your mom grew up in a fundamentalist cult without telling me your mother grew up in a fundamentalist cult, because it's a name that's based off of like you're an evangelical. Like it's too much. It's actually too much for me, babe. I do think Evangeline is a nice name, but maybe for somebody who didn't grow up in a kitchen table cult. Like that's me and perspective. Like, I get it. Your mom is disentangled. She hasn't deconstructed. So, she still identifies probably as an evangelical. No shame about it. She's 10 toes down in that aspect. But me, I'm giving it the side eye, babe. Just from that perspective. I think Evangeline is a nice name. I think Evangeline is a nice name. I have a family friend whose name is Evangelina, but we all call her Diana. I forget what the story is behind that, but like nobody calls her Evangelina. We all call her Diana. Everybody calls her Diana. It's I have no idea. I think that's like her middle name. I don't know. Both are beautiful names, so I love the name Diana. Okay, unrelated, but that is where I'm going to put Evangeline. You get it. Macy Joe. Once again, I'm going to have to... I can hear the banjo being plucked. I can hear the fireflies outside, actually, in the country, the quiet country still night. Like all of... Oh, I skipped somebody. I skipped a whole bunch of people. We'll get back to that. Macy Joe. That's why I said this is going to be semi out of order. I'm putting that in... I can hear the banjo in the background. That's what it's giving. And to that, I want to return... We'll come back. Brooklyn Praise. The other Brooklyn. Obviously, this is going to go in. So tell me your mother grew up in a fundamentalist cult without telling me your mother grew up in a fundamentalist cult. Brooklyn Praise. You know, like no shade, like praise God and everything. It's just giving, it's just a little bit culty. It's just a little bit, just a tiny bit. Like it's tap dancing on that line. And we're going to give it over to the cult. I think, no. I don't know. There was some birth video. I've talked about this before. And when I talk about Joe and Kendra's relationship in a video way down the line, we'll get more into this. But she had a natural birth and she really she killed it. I was like, yeah. Actually, this is who I want birthing advice from. Anyway, not sure how I got there. But Brooklyn Praise, like it's, you know what I mean? Like she's, your parent is an evangelical and it's probably a little bit worse than that. Brooklyn Praise, I don't know. That's what I'm feeling. That's the energy it's giving. So I skipped about 2 people who should have been before Coulter Evangeline. All of them. So let's just do them really quick. Lexi May. I can hear the banjos outside playing for Lexi May. Okay. And like, I just feel like Alyssa's daughters have the most country ass names. Like it's so funny that to me, like, that Alyssa was like probably the first one of her sisters to really drop her accent, to soften it out and to talk more like the way the internet does. And I don't want to say that like I think that's natural. I don't think it's just because of social media. Somebody made the comment that like as we're getting into this more globalized age and with more like communication, especially through social media, that a lot of people are really, you're finding that with younger people that their regional accents are less so compared to older generations. And having heard that, I was like, you know what? That makes sense then why some of the Bates girls are like that. Kind of. But at the same time, definitely I do think they do kind of put in the extra effort, because I feel like if when you're around your family you start talking like that, why is it that when you're around other people you don't? I don't know. I guess I get it. Like, because whenever I'm like around British people, I hear British people talking, I also want to start talking in a British accent. So I always wonder, do British people feel that way too? Like when you hear like Americans talking, like do you guys ever want to start, like if you're like the only British person and everybody else is speaking like, you know, like American with an American accent, like that you wanted to start talking in an American accent too? Like my mind always feels like that. I don't know. Is it just me? Am I weird like that? I don't think so. I think everybody's like that. But yeah, like I feel like Alyssa's kids have the most country ass name. Like you can take the girl out of East Tennessee, but Lord, you cannot take the East Tennessee out of the girl, okay? Country ass names. Next, Henry. Henry is going in, which I realize this is the first name to go in this category, and that's because I've gone out of order. But Henry is going to go in the names that I would put on my baby list. I love the name Henry. I think it's so cute. I think it's so sweet for a little boy. Like, also for a while I thought I wanted to get a dog and name him Henry. which I'm sorry not to compare a child to a dog, but I love the name Henry. I would name a child Henry still to this day. So that's be on my baby list name. Now his middle name Wilberforce. I'm glad it's a middle name. Bit much. Very old fashioned though. I kind of like it for that aspect. Like you never hear Wilberforce anymore. There are certain names I feel like let's get back into that. Like let's start doing that kind of thing. Anyways, moving on. Next is Samuel. I also put Samuel in my names that I would name, honestly, secretly would put on my baby list names, right? I like the name Samuel. I went to church with one of the pastor's kids. His son was named Samuel, obviously because it's a biblical name, but Samuel is a biblical name that I do like. That's also one of Joel Rodriguez's son's name though, so maybe not. Now, maybe that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Okay, I originally put this in my baby name list, but I don't think so. I do really like the name Mason. I think, don't hate me for saying this. Well, I don't even want to say this because I feel like it's not true, but I was gonna say that like Mason is like one of Anna's cutest kids, but I feel like that's rude because a lot of her kids are actually really, really cute. Actually, when I say a lot of them, that makes it sound like there's one that isn't cute. So maybe that's rude. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that. Because honestly, the genes really came together there for Josh and Anna, that their kids are actually super cute. God was like, there's gonna be a lot of strife and tribulation in your life, but good God, at least you're not gonna be ugly while it's happening. And I appreciate that for them. I love that for them, really. Truly. I would put Mason in the Mama's IG category. It's super trendy. It's a cute name, like it's a more modern name. Mason. Gideon. Gideon is probably the first name that I heard from the Duggars and the Bates, where I was like, oh my God, I love that name. I love the name Gideon. I love the name Gideon. I love it so much. I love it. It's a biblical name. I'm not gonna say why. That's why I love it, but I love the name Gideon. I know. Also, I think like, what is it? Something Minds. Oh my God, Criminal Minds. One of the main characters' name is Gideon, right? Too. But I love the name Gideon. Like probably number one in this category of names that I would put on my baby list is Gideon. No shade. If you see me when I have a child and I name him Gideon. Ivy Jane. Ivy Jane, I'm going to put in It's Giving Mama's IG. Just very trendy. I was really surprised when Jessa named her kid Ivy, I guess. Maybe just because of like after the Spurgeon, it's like, could be anything, you know what I mean? Ivy Jane. I think Ivy is such a cute name. It's super trendy. Yeah, It's Giving Mama's IG. I like Willow. I love the name Willow. The name Willow Christie, I feel like it really had to take a long time to grow on me, liking those two things together. Like, no shade, no disrespect. R.I.P. Kelton's mom. But I didn't love the name Willow Christie. Like the two together. I was thinking about it today and I was like, you know what? I don't think I mind it as much now. But I will say, and I'm also going to say this about Josie's other daughter. I don't know. When I look at Willow, I don't feel like she looks like a Willow. I guess now at this point, because I'm more, obviously used to it. Like, I know just thinking, like, you don't know this kid. Like, how does the kid look like a name? I never feel like I look like an Abigail. Like, I feel like all the time I look at my name and I think it's so weird. People tell me, like, often, I don't say often, but I do get that comment, like, oh, it's such a beautiful name. And it's, like, a weird thing to say thank you about, because it's, like, it feels, like, so, like, I feel like I feel so disconnected from my name sometimes. So, like, I don't know, that's why I think about, like, when I look at you, you don't really look like a Willow to me. But I feel like at this point, I guess, like, yeah. I don't know, it's weird to me. But, again, it would definitely go in the Mama's IG section, super trendy. Josie definitely gives momfluencer vibes. Addison is also going to go in the Mama's IG category. And honestly, I was really surprised when they named their daughter Addison, just because it is so like more modern and trendy. I don't know, I feel like I didn't expect that from Kendra in a way. Though this easily to me... Oh, I'm lying. And for the reason I'm about to say, I actually put this in the your mom's 16-year-old baby name list. And the reason why is because, like, I don't know, it sounds to me like a name that, like, Kendra just really liked for a long time and held on to it. And Joe was like, whatever, sure, if you want to name the baby Addison, that's cool. And I think she basically said as much, too, that she always liked the name, and that's why she picked it. So, yeah, but it also could have easily have been a mama's name. Addison is super trendy. It's a newer name for sure. Bella. Bella is also going to go in the your mom's 16-year-old baby name list. And the reason why is that, one, Lauren, again, basically said as much, that she really liked the name for a long time. And it kind of sounds like the name that you would hear when you're like 16 or 14 and be like, oh, I love the name Bella. I love the name Bella. Like it strikes me as a name I heard in middle school. I don't know how to, like, if that makes any sense. And therefore would be a name that somebody would put on their baby name list. I love Bella Hadid, but she's Isabella, which is always kind of weird to think about that she's Isabella. Like, it's interesting that Bella Hadid and Gigi Hadid, like, those aren't their real names, those are nicknames. Like, on their licenses and on their, like, birth certificates, they have full names that are different. I think that's interesting, especially with Gigi Hadid. I think it's so interesting that her name is Jelena, and the reason why is because I had a friend in, like, elementary school whose name was Jelena, and I thought her name was so unique. I remember I had, like, a book, it was like a Junie B. Jones book, when the Junie B. Jones series, I think when she moved into first grade or whatever, like, I had, like, a diary book that you, like, could fill in with information. And I think one of the things they asked was, like, if you could have a different name, what would it be? And I think I put the name Jelena because I really liked my friend Jelena's name. I thought my friend Jelena was so cool. Next name. Chloe. I think it's okay. Chloe. That I'm gonna put Chloe with a K. And again, I didn't realize this. This is actually really a coincidence. This is also gonna go in your mom's high school, your mom's 16-year-old baby name list. I don't know. There's just something about Chloe with a K that, like, to me, like, kind of like, I don't know, that just, it's, I guess because everybody thinks of Khloe Kardashian, but it also feels very why I would say, I think why I put this in this category is, like, naming your kid Chloe to me is like a very 2000s thing. Like, this would have been a name that was trendy and popular in the 2000s, in my opinion. And, like, Whitney would have heard that. Like, she would have been, because Whitney would have been in high school and middle school in the, like, early 2000s. Right? Actually, it would have been, like, yeah, early into the late 2000s. Like, or sorry, mid into the late 2000s is when Whitney would have been in high school. So I feel like that's why, like, it would have been something that she heard around that time. I was like, oh, I really like that name. And that's why it's Chloe. With a K, unique, I mean, I guess. I don't know. I feel like that's really, I don't think that's not something you see too much. But traditionally, Chloe is spelled with a C. I personally feel like I prefer it with the C. And maybe that's me being bougie because of, like, the Chloe name brand. But yes. So, again, that's where I would put this. This video's getting long. Holland. I hate this name. I'm so sorry. The minute I heard it, I was like, Holland, like the country. Like, I know this is a common name. It's not really that unique, but I just do not like the name Holland. I don't Holland. It'll probably, actually, now that I've said it a couple times, it's growing on me a little bit, but I just don't love it. I do like Holly, though. I think Holly is cute. You know what? Holland. No, I don't know. There's something about it being like the country Holland that I think of, like, that bothers me a little bit, which I know doesn't make any sense because, like, you know, Paris, London. Are there actually any other actual countries that stand in as names? China? Maybe? Yeah, China. China's a name. India. Okay. Holland. I don't know. I just don't like Holland. I'm sorry. Mariella. Okay. Mariella is going to go in the Navy, Taily, whatever Lakin category. And here's why. I hate the way it's spelled. Like, I don't know, the way it's spelled to me is why it has to go in this category, because I just feel like I understand and I get it that it's supposed to be honoring Grandma Mary, and that's why they spelled it that way. But to me, it's like, y'all could have spelled it the regular way and that would have been fine. And you know, maybe that's rude of me to say the regular way, but looking at it, to me, Mariella it just looks ugly to me. That's what it is. Like, looking at it, it looks ugly. Okay, that's what it is. Like, that's what bothers me. That's what gets under my skin. I just feel like I just kind of feel like when I look at it, I feel like I'm seeing the Yella, and I think of Old Yeller, the dog. I think of Yella, like the Yella part just bothers me. Like, I know it's supposed to be like, yes, it's Mary Yella. I don't know, it bothers me so much. I don't like the way it's spelled. Like, I just feel like it looks weird. It looks funny. I don't like it, and that's why it's in this category, because the way all of these names are funny, so does Mariella. Super cute kid though, super adorable, I have to say. Grace. I love the name Grace. I think the name Gracie, so cute. I really do feel like I'm partial to Abby. I don't know if it's because she's Abby, I'm Abby, but I don't know. I think she's adorable, and I love the name Grace. And so obviously this is a baby name that I would secretly put on my baby name list. Layla Ray. I can hear the banjo in the background. Like, it's so country. I think it's cute though. I like the name Layla because of A Thousand Splendid Suns. If any of you guys have read that, it's a book that takes place in Afghanistan. One of the main characters' name is Layla, and she's named Layla because she's born at night. And she's like this beautiful, beautiful baby, and the name Layla means night beauty, which I always, and why like I bring that up is because like Evan and Carlin said that they picked the name Layla just because they liked it and not necessarily because of the meaning, which I think is funny. And also that like Layla is an Arabic name. It's almost the small irony of them naming their daughter Layla out of that. And also because I think like names do matter. I think it's fun when you know what your name means and like the story behind it. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with like your parents just like the name and that's what they named. Evelyn May. Evelyn, which is Joy's daughter. I put Evelyn in It's Giving Mama's IG. And the reason why is that it just seems like a trendy name. It seems like a trendy name to me, Evelyn. I think Evelyn is such a pretty name. It's a name that you'll really grow into. When I first heard it, I was like, oh, that is a really nice name. I do like that a lot. I like the name Evelyn for a little girl, especially like I said, it's really not that common anymore. So yeah, it's trendy. I feel like that's the trend, is like something that's not like, there are names that are super trendy, and then like also the trend is like it's an older name that you don't hear too much anymore. Jaden. This is gonna have to go in the Taily McCarty Navy category. And the reason why is because I cannot stand that this name is spelled with an O. I always want to say it Jadon, like Jadon, instead of Jaden, like it's Jadon. Jadon, like I'm sorry. That's what I think of when I hear it. And I just think it is, or when I hear it, obviously, when I see it, like I just think it's just spelled so ugly. Like, I liked how they spelled it originally. I don't know, there's just something about the O that bothers me so bad. I feel like there is any other way that you could spell Jaden and I would get behind it 100%. Maybe, I don't know, Americans are real crazy with how they spell things, but including this fucking O in this name Jaden. So that's where I'm putting this name. I cannot stand the spelling of this name. Oh my God. Like, I'm starting to itch actually a little bit. Hazel. Hazel is going in the Mama's IG character category. It's super trendy. I think this all the time, and I know it's the weirdest thing to think because I don't know these people, but that like Hazel doesn't look like a Hazel. I feel like now I guess that she's a little bit bigger, but I don't know, there's just something about it that doesn't strike me as a Hazel. At first I was like, maybe because I think when I think of Hazel, I think of a little black girl, but I just don't think that's true. I just don't think that's true. I don't think that's the case. For the longest time, I just didn't feel like her child looked like a Hazel. To me, it just kind of felt like the name Hazel is trendy and you like the name, and so that's why that's your kid's name. Are you guys team, actually, that's a good question. Are you team naming the baby ahead of time, or do you like to wait and like have a couple names until you see the baby? Like, I feel like, I don't think we have known any of the Duggars or Bates who haven't announced the name ahead of time. Actually, I take that back just that quickly, because Joy didn't announce the name immediately before the baby was born. It was after. But majority of them do announce the name ahead of time. And not to say that I think that that's weird or anything like that. I just think it's interesting that people like, I mean, I guess everybody does that, right? You pick out a name for the baby. I just feel like you should maybe pick out a couple in case it looks like, I don't know. I just feel like, I guess because that baby does not look like a Hazel to me for the longest. But like, it's you know, it's your discretion to name your baby whatever. But I don't know. It's like, why I'm talking about it is because I think it's the weirdest thought to have. Like, I think it's a weird thing to think, but I do think it. Like, I don't know. But who gives a about my opinion? It's still a beautiful name. I love the name Hazel. Charlotte. I love the name Charlotte, and I think it's so cute. Very trendy right now, so that's definitely going in the it's giving mama's IG category, which is interesting to me because I feel like that's not really Tori's Moxie, very much the furthest thing from an influencer and the furthest thing from giving her kids regular trendy names. We got one more of hers to do. Okay, next, Madison Lily. Iconic, actually. Madison Lily. Madison Lily, Madison Lily. When news dropped that Anna and Josh had named their most recent child Madison Lily, the streets were like record scratch, like music stopped. Because everybody was like, why would you name this baby a name that's so closely associated with the national cheating scandal that your husband was involved in? Like, it's weird. Like, that's what everybody's opinion was. Obviously, Madison Lily is gonna go in the, maybe it's not too obvious, but this name is gonna go in the tell me your mother grew up in a fundamentalist cult without telling me your mother grew up in a fundamentalist cult, because the fact that, one, you would name your baby after something that was a cheating, in the name that was involved in his cheating scandal, and like because of like what the name means and therefore connects with that like aspect, the name like meaning. So Madison being, okay, Madison meaning son of Matthew, right? Okay, stay with me, walk with me. And the whole thing within IBLP about Matthew 18 and forgiveness, and in general the overall like redempting, never ending, endless forgiveness, okay? And then Lily meaning purity and rebirth and renewal or something like that. Like, so that connection, it's culty as hell, okay? Because while yes, those are all great things to like, I just think it's crazy to name your last baby that's going to jail as the name that's connected with his cheating scandal, and then connect it back to forgiveness and rebirth and purity and starting over. I just, especially on the eve of him going to prison, like, babes, you were walking hand in hand with him into the courtroom while you were 9 months pregnant. I think that's insane. Was it really a rebirth and renewal? And like, it's so much that we could unpack in just that name. Like, but that is why it's giving tell me your mother grew up in a fundamentalist cult without telling me your mother grew up in a fundamentalist cult. Like, you are so deep in the fucking Kool-Aid, and that is what the name Madison Lily is. That's what it means, actually. It's just drinking the Kool-Aid. That's what they might as well have just named her that. Drinking the Kool-Aid. Okay, Duggar. Moving on. Finley. You already know where this is gonna go. Taylor, Lakin, whatever. McCarty. When Aaron announced this name, I was like, girl, what? It was surprising to me because it's like not an obviously an overtly feminine name, but I feel like it's grown on me a little bit. Finley. It's unique. Finley. It's different. Finley. It's again giving that American, that very specific American vibe that is the Lakin McCarty Navy category. Truett. I had a hard time on where to place Truett, and I think ultimately it went in the Mama's IG category. It just gave very much to me like influencer vibes. Truett. It to me was a very unique name. I was really super surprised when they announced the name. I wasn't expecting that at all, for them to name the baby Truett. I don't love it, but I do like the name True. I think that's cute. I think of like, you know, like when you think of Truett, do you think of like a truant or truancy? Is that the word? Okay, Frederick. This is a Frederick. You don't hear Frederick too often anymore, I should say. And now, this is going to shock you, but I'm going to put Frederick in the Taylor McCarty Navy meme category. And the reason why is that I cannot think about Frederick or Derek without thinking of Derek of Rick. I think what Frederick means like son of Rick or some of Derek or something like that, or brother of Rick. I don't even know. I just feel like, well, now that I think about the Derek thing, it just sounds like a really ghetto name to me. Like I can't get over it. I can't move past that. And that's why it's going in this category, because I just feel like Frederick is just, it's like Phil Stavius. Like to me, it's doing a lot actually. Frederick. Cambry. You, Navy, Lakin, I don't even gotta say it, right? Like Cambry. I think when I see this name, to be honest, I think of a Camry car. I don't think it's an awful name or anything like that. Cambry. It's definitely unique. It definitely gives Tori had help from Aaron deciding a name. All of Tori's kids' names sound like that to me. Like Aaron had some kind of influence in helping her to pick the name. Cambry. I think that's how you say it. Cambry. I don't know. Cambry. Kenna. Okay. Kenna is also gonna go in the Navy Lakin meme category. It bothers me that this is like not McKenna. I think that's what it is. I think Kenna doesn't feel like a real name to me. Kenna, I don't know. And I think of like a dog kennel. So I don't know. There's just something about it I just don't like. Now, super cute kid. No shade to the baby at all. Cute kid. Named after her father, Kenneth. But this isn't even on purpose. Okay, Brinley. Brinley is for sure going in the Lakin, Camry, whatever meme category, okay? Because Brinley, oh my goodness, I think Brinley is what inspired this category in general. Brinley, it gives, you grew up in the Midwest, babe. It gives you're from Ohio, like Brinley, like, oh yeah. It gives Arkansas, like Brinley, okay? Like Big Bryn, like, okay, like Brinley. It's giving Lakin, Navy, Taylor, whatever the hell. Haley. Super cute. I feel like we don't hear Haley too often anymore. Like very 2000s name in my opinion. Like that girl in the 2000s, her name was Haley. You have Haley Bieber. I think it's so interesting how quickly people just started calling Haley Bieber. Like people just got used to it. She was Haley Baldwin. I used to love Haley Baldwin. I like Haley Bieber though. It does sound nice, but whatever. Anyway, completely unrelated. Not unrelated. Whatever. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. That really is one of my favorite quotes. I think that's so powerful. Shakespeare was in his bag when he wrote that, to be honest. But Haley, anyway, Haley James, it's going in Mama's IG. It's very much giving momfluencer vibes. Rhett. Where was your dad on January the 6th? And it doesn't, it doesn't help that his father is a actual Republican. His grandfather is a Republican state representative from Florida, no less, like Rhett. I don't hate the name Rhett necessarily. Rhett is a name that I'd give my kid. Obviously not, which is why it's not in that category. But Rhett. I think when I hear Rhett, I think of wretch, which has like two meanings. You're a wretch, and then also, like I'm wretched. So, but yeah, Rhett. I like the way it's spelled, Rhett. It also gives kind of very country. Like I said, you could take the girl out of East Tennessee, baby, but you cannot take the East Tennessee out the girl. Gunner. Where was your dad on January 6th? I want to know it, okay? Gunner. I feel like this is what I have been wanting to make this video talking about these kids' names for a while. And when Joanna had her baby, I finally was like, oh, I think I'm ready now. Because baby Gunner. Like, it feels like it's like you're making a joke, you're mocking people on the internet. But it's like that's a really strong, aggressive way to mock people, is with a child's name that they're gonna have to live with for the rest of their life. Your kid is gonna grow up super conservative and all of these things with this like loose thread of celebrity, this very, very very loose connection to celebrity, and their name is gonna be Gunner. I don't know. Like I said, I don't hate it because who is it? Heidi and Spencer from The Hills named their first son Gunner, and to me it doesn't necessarily sound weird when it's from them. And not even like does Gunner feel like a more like normal name because it's like a Hollywood name. It just seems like, well, okay, I could see that the kid's name being Gunner, but like coming from Joy and Austin and like all the things, you know all the things I'm talking about. Gunner just feels like a choice, Where was your dad on January 6th? Now that we're talking about it, where was he? Nora. Ugh, I love this name. When Katie and Jen announced it, I was like, ugh, I love that name. I hate you guys for giving your kid that name because I love that name. A name that is secretly on my baby list that I would put on my baby name list. Like, ooh, the name Nora. I think that Nora is such a cute name. So pretty. I love it. And the Nora Kate, I think that's so cute. Oh, I love it. Shame about the cult. Riker. I don't have to ask where your dad was on January 6th because we know where he was, but it's very much so giving. Where was your dad on January 6th? Like, your name said that he was there. And he said that he was there. I hate this name. I hate it. There's something about it that is just so, like, ugly to me. I'm sorry. It's like, it's like an aggressive name. It's not even, like, nice. Riker. Like, I guess maybe I'm thinking of the island of Rikers, like Riker. I don't know. And even that, like having a name when you're like associated with the police and you're all like, oh, Blue Lives Matter, and then having a name where your kid has a thinly close relationship with Riker's prison, the prison system, and all the things that we could talk about. Like, I just don't like it. Riker. It sounds like striker, which makes me think of like a German striker. And it's like, What do you mean by that? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't like it. Riker. I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. Like, where was your father on January the 6th? We know where he was. Like, I don't like it. I hate it. Actually, I think that's the end of this list. Ending on a bad note. I do not like that name, Riker. Like, why would they name their kid that? Riker. Ew, I'm sorry. Like, I'm trying to say it enough times for it to, like, grow on me. Riker Bates. Riker. I don't like her. Like, I don't. It's a boy's name, but I don't like it. Like, seeing the names that they had, I was hoping they were going to go with Knox. I actually like the name Knox a lot. For my kid, no. But I like the name Knox. Riker. I hate that it's a name that Trace really liked, and so that's why... I don't want to say that's why they picked it, but it's a name that he really liked, and he got his way in that. I think she got to pick the middle name or something. I just don't like it. You already know the way I say it often that this is a Lawson Bates hate account, but I do also honestly feel like also the same thing with Trace. And I'm trying not to just be like a hater, but oh my God, like, even like I said, watching his content, he's really kind of annoying and insufferable. And I know it's the way that he was raised in terms of like being in a patriarchal boys will be boys, men are the leader lifestyle, but still, you know. That's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this little list of names. Yeah, I'm curious to hear what are some of your favorite names. What names do you dislike? Like I said, I like Spurgeon more than I like Riker. I'm willing to go on the record and say that. I like Spurgeon more than Riker. They're both terrible, but I like Spurgeon more than Riker. Maybe because I've heard Spurgeon for a longer time at this point. Like, it's grown on me. It's worn me down. Like, y'all won. I just don't like the name Riker. I just don't like it. I don't. Sorry. Yeah, so I can't wait to hear what your favorites are, what your least favorites are. So leave me a little comment. If you've watched this far into the video, you know I love you. I appreciate you, and I thank you for being with me here today. And yeah, I will see you for the next one, which is either going to be Rodriguez update or Shiny Happy People review. I feel like I'm not super pressed to talk about the Shiny Happy People documentary, and not because I didn't like it. I enjoyed it so much. I just kind of don't feel like it, if that makes sense. I think the reason why I don't feel like it is because the first time I watched it, I just watched it for pleasure. I didn't like take any notes on it or anything. Like, I definitely have opinions from like off the top of my head that I remember, but yeah, I don't know. If you really, really, really want me to do a video talking about it, leave me a comment to let me know, or DM me. Maybe put the pressure on so I can feel like convinced that I should do it. I still feel like I'll probably, I don't know. I think I just feel like also by the time I put out the video, like give my review, it'll be so many weeks out. Are people going to even really care anymore about what I have to say about it? So, because I don't feel like I have anything groundbreaking. It's just going to be my opinions about how I felt about it, right? So, anyways, I'm dragging it out. If you're interested in me talking about that, leave me a comment. If enough people want me to do it, I'll go ahead and do it. Or give that person who says, yes, I wanted a thumbs up, so that I can know that that's something you want to do. I'd appreciate the comment more because that helps to grow the channel. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you for the next one.
Let's go. It's like, you niggas gotta stop acting weird. You niggas